This morning on the news, on the radio, I heard about how people are just getting their luggage from their Christmas travels. The airlines had a little problem over the holidays, you might have heard. And it got me thinking about how in those pieces of luggage, there had to be Christmas presents that didn't get delivered, but they will. It's a parallel to me anyway, that we're still in the Christmas season. And one of the gifts that the church gives us are saints, celebrating memorials of saints like Saint Andre Bessette. And it also made me think about the connection between Notre Dame and the movie Rudy. If you don't know the story about Rudy, he was a young man who wanted to play for Notre Dame football, but he was small and he was underestimated by everyone. But he had faith and he also had perseverance and ultimately fulfilled his dream, getting in and making a play at the end of one game. He fulfilled his mission. Well, today we celebrate a saint that was also overlooked by many people. And I think in some ways he could be the patron saint of people who are overlooked by the world. And yet, through their faith in God, don't give up. Saint Andre Bessette was known as the humble brother, the miracle man of Montreal. He became, as Father Bobby was saying, the Congregation of Holy Cross first canonized saint, October 17th, 2010, St. Peter's Square in Rome. Some people who come to the Father Peyton Center were part of a pilgrimage that we took, where people from all over New England journeyed, a pilgrimage to that beautiful, beautiful day. And like St. Therese of Lisieux, Brother Andre would humbly touch countless souls without ever leaving his city. First, he was the doorkeeper at Notre Dame College in Montreal. Then, at a trolley station, he would greet people, and ultimately, at the Oratory of St. Joseph that he helped to build. The fact that this holy and humble man had significant challenges in his life and became a saint is proof that God's grace builds on our human nature if we place our trust in God. Born in Quebec, August 9th, 1845, Alfred Bessette was orphaned at the age of 12 and so had to work to support himself with little formal education. And from an early age, he had a lively and strong devotion to St. Joseph. So after years, actually a few years of trying to work in the US, primarily in New England, he returned to Quebec. And you can imagine he must have been wondering, what does life hold for me? What am I going to do? It was there that his childhood pastor encouraged him to consider a vocation to religious life. And so he sent a note along with him to the Congregation of Holy Cross that said some prophetic words. He said, "I am sending you a saint." I think it was a prophetic vision this pastor had to see a future saint, as I said, in a person that so many could have easily overlooked. And as it was the case, initially Holy Cross did not accept him because of his poor health. In fact, he'd been baptized right after birth because they were afraid that he might not live more than a few days. In fact, he was sickly most of his life. However, Alfred was not discouraged. And with the assistance of the Archbishop of Montreal, he did receive entrance into the Holy Cross Novitiate December 27th, 1870. To me, that's another powerful proof of God's grace at work, opening the door to Alfred Bessette's life with the Holy Cross. And then entering the novitiate, he took the name Andre. Why? It was the first name of his childhood pastor, the one that helped him to get into Holy Cross. But as I said, expectations and observations can be tough things. And given his frail health and lack of formal education, Brother Andre was assigned the very humble position of doorkeeper of Notre Dame College in Montreal. He continued in this assignment as a professed brother. I'm sure watching his other fellow brothers rise among the ranks, but his duty was to greet visitors and to tend to their needs. And I think some could have seen this as a dead-end role in religious life for a brother. But to me, here's one of the keys. The future saint didn't see it that way. And what happened? Many people began to experience physical healings when they would pray with Brother Andre. And so his reputation as a healer began to spread. In fact, so many people flocked to him that the congregation allowed him to see the sick people at the nearby trolley station across the street. He was probably preventing people from coming and going in through the door. But through it all, Brother Andre did what saints do. He remained humble. And he often seemed confused that people would lavish such praise upon him. For he knew that the real source of these miraculous cures was St. Joseph's intercession. His famous words to people were very simple: go to Joseph. His desire to increase this devotion to St. Joseph inspired him to found a shrine to his favorite saint across the street from the College of Notre Dame. You might wonder where he got the money. Well, he earned it by giving haircuts. And he would charge a big sum of 5 cents a haircut, eventually earning $200 that he needed to construct a simple structure. So I did the math and figured out that's about 4,000 haircuts without any tips. I hope they gave him some tips. Well, this shrine opened on October 19th, 1904, and in 1909, Brother Andre was released from his duties as the doorkeeper. The wisdom of the Holy Cross assigned him full-time as caretaker of the oratory of St. Joseph. And then the oratory would attract large numbers of pilgrims. Plans were made to build a basilica. And Brother Andre's full-time ministry for the rest of his life was to receive those long lines of pilgrims, people who were sick and flocked to the oratory to pray with him. As I said, he became known as the Miracle Man of Montreal, and thousands of miraculous healings are attributed to his intercessions in the following decades. We celebrate his memorial today because on January 6, 1937, at the age of 91, not bad for a chronically sick man, he passed away. And during the week that his body lay in state outside of St. Joseph's Oratory, an estimated 1 million people braved the bitter cold to pay their respects for this man who the world could have overlooked. And today, it remains a major pilgrimage site, attracting over 2 million visitors a year. And the side chapels are filled with crutches, with people healed through St. Andre's prayers, asking for St. Joseph's intercession. My brothers and sisters, St. Andre Bessette reminds us of the power of faith, of intercessory prayer, and how God's grace builds on our human nature. No matter our human limitations, God's grace can bring great good and glory to God if only we place our trust in Him.